Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Nina and welcome to my, I was about to say little podcast, but my episodes are always really long, so I'm not sure what would constitute it being little, but welcome. So this is just my little space to talk about all the things that I've been knitting, and if you've seen my latest video, also the things that I've just been thinking and dreaming about. So that video was me discussing just a couple of different patterns and yarns that I've just kind of stumbled across. I called it New in Yarn Craft, originally new to me, and then I was actually, let's just call it New in Yarn Craft. Doesn't matter if it's not new, if it's only new to me. It's like worth talking about either way. So I am about a week late with this podcast episode. Things have been really busy and stressful, which I'm not going to get into now. If you do kind of want to hear about all of that, there should be a new knit with me video coming soon where I'll probably talk a lot about it. Because I'm like, my podcast episodes are long enough. Let's keep it to the yarn. Let's keep it to the knitting and whatever else I'm doing. And the more personal stuff can come in other videos. So let's get right into it. Because it's been 3 weeks, even though I've not actually spent as much time knitting as I normally would, I've finished a lot of things. Partially because I've still been knitting quite a bit, but also, with the extra week. But I've also just been a bit more focused with my knitting. Instead of trying to knit everything at once, I'm like, work on this and finish it. So first thing, let's talk about what I'm wearing. So this is the Colour Block Boxy Tee by Vicky from Tiny Teal Handcrafted. So I test knitted this top, so it's short sleeved. You can see my white arm. So it's just a t-shirt, raglan, using knit one front and back to create the raglan increases, and I did the optional thing of using a contrast colour for all the ribbing bits, so up here, by the sleeves, down at the body. And the yarn that I used is Amy March by West Green Loft Yarns. Just got absolutely, brain just went blank. And the contrast colour that I used is just a 50-gram one that was like a stash builder, I think she called it, from Hayley from Ducky Darlings. My hair. And I just thought that blue went perfectly with it. So I'm wearing a cardigan today, which is made out of wool but not handmade, just because it was sunny earlier but still quite chilly. Now it's raining and miserable. Whatever. So this was a really simple construction. You can see, so I've blocked it and everything, but the yarn up here just behaves very differently to the main one. Not sure why. Pretty sure it's exactly the same blend, but, different suppliers, it's got to do different things. So just a bit more loose and probably needed to be worked on slightly smaller needles than the main body. Just happens, and I didn't want to rip it back. But yeah, really simple. I didn't make it cropped or anything. Literally sits at my hips, where I normally would kind of wear t-shirts and things, so it's not too long, it's not too short. I didn't alternate skeins, which I think, is amazing considering I think it just looks beautiful. And I think if I had alternated skeins, I'm not sure it would actually look as good as it does. But that's the first thing I finished, and I think the pattern's coming out at the end of May, I believe. Because I know some people haven't, I think, finished theirs yet. I still need to take pictures. I finished it quite a while ago, but I only just kind of blocked it recently. Because apparently I just despise blocking. I've said this before, I just go through phases where I'm like, stuff piling up that I've finished, and then I block it all. And then I spend all weekend just blocking multiple things. Is there anything else I wanted to say about it? I think I already said it. Simple knit. Got through it quite quickly. The pattern itself, we had the option of doing it with a fingering weight yarn or a DK weight. I went for fingering because I just don't have DK in my stash. But I'm not sure how Vicky is gonna split it up, because a lot of us kind of said that she shouldn't include the DK and fingering weight pattern in the same one, and should split it up. But I'll either talk about it in the future once the pattern is out, or you'll find out about it somewhere. But that's the first thing. And then, so I think I already said this, I have a lot of finished, or at least quite a few finished objects because of how long it's been since I've last recorded. But this one, if this had been the only thing I finished, this would have been a great period between podcasts. But the fact I finished this project and other things is just like, what happened to me? So, I'm so excited about this and so happy. I just can't even. Oh. I finished the Gnorbu shawl. So on my German episodes, like with my English ones, I was complaining and being all like, why can't I finish this? Why do I struggle so much? And I think, and then people like comment and be like, you just need to find a way to motivate yourself and just to get through it, and you know, it looks beautiful. And people said it in my English videos as well, like, oh, but the colours and everything look so amazing. And then I just did it. So I think last time, let me see which side. Is this the good side? Not the good side, I think this is the second side. I think last time I showed it off, I was somewhere here, working, or maybe I'd already started on my third colour, but I was somewhere along here, and was up to the point pretty much where I was starting to decrease for the final section. And something just clicked, which had already clicked here, where I sort of just realised you repeat the same thing 15 times or something like that. And normally when not normally, but when I was knitting the first half, I would just constantly check back at the pattern. Knit one row, check the pattern, knit one row, check the pattern. And that's what made it drag on for so long. But then here, I realised, well, it's just repeating the same thing over and over again. I can remember what to do. And then I had the same thought here, where I'm like, okay, the rows are changing because you're constantly decreasing at either end and increasing in the middle to maintain the shape. Well, I can't see what I'm doing. So it does offset everything and shift everything around, but that's fine because I still just know what's meant to happen anyway. Like, I can read the yarn, well, not the yarn, but like read the stitches and what I'm meant to be doing. And then by the time I got to this last section with these, I think they're twisted stitches is what they're called, to create these lines, I was like, hang on, wait. Once again, like, everything's shifting, but by the time you reach a point where a line comes to an end where you're decreasing, that's where the bobble goes. And then once again, you're just doing the twisted stitches to make sure it lines up. And then the whole thing just flew by, because I wasn't checking the pattern anymore. Literally from about here, actually here, I maybe checked the pattern once. And so then I just went, floom! Also helped that there were less stitches. But so, it's kind of my own fault. Well, it's obviously my fault it took this long, because I could have just knitted on it earlier. But it was my fault for making it way more complicated than it needed to be. But I think it was just the first half of the shawl. I was still a bit of a newer knitter, because I started this in early 2020. So I'd been knitting for less than a year at that point, and it was just a lot of new, like, stitches and stuff and new things for me. But then by the time I got to the second half, it had been pretty much a year later. And so it was just easier, and I understood it, and I'm better at reading patterns, and so then it just went so quickly. So I'm really happy, and I'm pretty much going to call this just like my evolution/progress shawl, because it perfectly shows how one half was such a struggle, because it was kind of, you know, probably too much, considering everything I had going on and just my knitting skills. And then the second half was like, oh, well, this is easy. And so it just let me see how much I've progressed as a knitter, which is always an amazing project to have when you actually see how much you've improved. That's amazing. Oh, it makes me happy. But it's done. I've worn it once already because the weather here in the UK hasn't been the best. And wore it out for a walk, which was lovely. So I either wear it kind of loosely like this. Sometimes I'll wrap it fully around. But one of my favourite ways to wear it, which I think, I said this in my German one. I think it was it in Turkey that someone showed me this? Oh, now my brain's, because I had to do it again, my brain's all confused now. Wait, I got it. Like this. No, don't come through again. Oh, come on. It's just not happening. Okay, hang on. One more time. I need to do it without thinking. And then just pull it through here and not lose that one. There we go. And so much hair. I'm probably due for a haircut again. And so that way it is locked in place. So it's just a bit of an extra thing than just wrapping it around. It does mean it's a bit warmer because you've got more around your neck, but I love all the colours and seeing the like different stitch patterns pop through. It is a bit frustrating that obviously only one side is really nice because that's the right side, and that's hard to then kind of show through with how you then wear it. But I still love it. It's perfect for spring, pretty much perfect for the weather that we've been having here. It was just a bit rainy and grey and overcast. But yeah, so it's... Can you believe it? Because I still can't believe that it's done. And I've healed and moved on from all the pain and stuff I had gone through. And I'm really happy with it. I'm not sure if I would knit another one. If I did, it definitely won't be for a while. But now that I know... Pardon me. Now that I know I don't have to constantly check the pattern, because I actually know a lot more about construction and stuff, I think I would maybe make another one in the future using maybe just one colour or a collection of really neutral colours, because this doesn't exactly go with everything. Like, it does not go with this, in my opinion. It goes with this. It makes it all bright and colourful. So this is probably the thing I've been most proud of in a long time. And I really love it, though nothing beats the Ito shawl. I wish I could wear it. It's not been cold enough for the Ito shawl. I think I got, since my last episode, I think I got maybe one more use out of it, and that was it. It's just getting warm and kind of muggy now, so it's not happening, sadly. Next thing is a crochet project that I've shared of before. She done. So this is Bluey. She's not perfect, but who is? So you can see she's kind of twisted, which I'd mentioned when I showed her off last episode, but I kind of just embraced it. I did sew everything on like the pattern said before I finished the head, so I wish her face was just a little higher. But I still think I'm proud of myself for this. It was quite ambitious considering how few things I've crocheted before. And I still think she's really cute. And like, sure, there's things I could have done better, but I think my niece will really enjoy it. And I probably will make myself one, because I think she's adorable. But not that much to say. Everything was already done. I was literally just sewing everything on and then just finishing off the head, where the instructions weren't as good for the head, sadly. And something went a bit wrong up here. I don't know. But I think she's cute. She'll do. I wish the head was a bit shorter. But I'm really proud of it. But yeah, so I can send that off to my niece in Australia. And it will arrive in approximately 3 to 4 months or so. Because Australia Post, even before the pandemic, was terrible. Sadly. But so now with the pandemic as well, it's just taking forever for stuff to arrive. But it's not like it's anything that time sensitive. As long as it arrives at some point, that will be fine. Next thing, we've got a pair of socks. I did say I was going to finish these before the next podcast episode. Something annoying happened, which I will talk about when I get to that project, but please make note of my frustration, and I'll talk about it later. Frustration noted? Thank you. So I said this project would be done by next time, and if I had filmed, so it got up to last weekend, and I was like, gotta record this weekend, it's been 2 weeks, and it got to the Friday, I think it was, and I was like, but I haven't finished this, so I knitted, really went for it, managed to finish it, but then didn't record over that weekend because I had to work, and I was stressed, and I was just not in a great place. So I didn't need to rush with them, but I'm still glad they're done. I think they're beautiful, and they're washed and blocked and everything. My Gerste socks from 52 Weeks of Socks. So the yarn I used is from Weku Yarns. I would highly recommend check out the Instagram because they did a whole video on there where they pronounce the colour names with their dad. And I know I'm not going to pronounce them properly, but the colour is red. I can pronounce that, it's English. But the actual colour, I think, is something like Etsuru, something like that. I'll have it all listed below, but they do kind of say the name properly of the yarn. So you can see it's a kind of red with some oranges and darker reds and stuff. So really beautiful. And I love the pattern of the socks. So it's just a knit and purl pattern. And I did a German short row heel, which was actually the first time I'd done one. I've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel one, but not just like a true German short row heel. And it's a twisted rib. Worked toe up. Absolutely amazing. The second one really didn't take me long because I was about here, I think. Maybe here last time I showed it off. And I just went for it. Because now I knew how long I had to make everything. It then just kind of went, I just kept checking back on the first one, and it was great. I loved it. I've got quite a bit of yarn left. There it is. So I have my feet are a European 42, UK 8, is probably what I would say is roughly the equivalent. So I typically do need, depending on the length of the leg here, I need quite a bit of yarn for a pair of socks. And I think this might actually be less than 50 grams, or around 50 grams, probably left. But your girl got big feet. But yeah, so quite a bit of yarn left, which normally would then immediately go into my basket of leftovers, which I use for my Happy Scrappy blanket. But I'm not sure if that's what I want to do with this one. Because I think as beautiful, the red would look incredible in the blanket. I'm not sure if I don't want to actually make something with this as, the shining star doesn't just disappear. Speaking of, I didn't show it off with the other one, but other two. For the projects I've already shared. No, where's the other one? Okay, I can't find it right now. But for the colour block boxy tee, this is how much I've left of Amy March. So that's the main colour I was using. I used 2 skeins. I have a third, but 2 ended up being perfect, and that's all that's left. I love this. This makes me happy. And this is how much I have left of the 50 gram contrast. So still plenty left of this one. And then, let me see if I can find the third colour. There it is. For the Gnorbu shawl, and these are the 3 colours I used. Number 1, 2, and 3. These 2 are by the Fibre Fox. One of them's Rainbow Drops, one of them's Rainbow Reflections. I've been working on this for over a year and I still don't remember the names. And this is from Truly Hooked, and it's called Wallflower. So quite a decent-ish amount of these 2. Not as much of this one. I'm not sure why. I think they're meant to use roughly the same amount. But so those ones will go into my Happy Scrappy blanket, I think. But the red, I think I want it to shine because of how beautiful it is. And I'm not sure I just want to use it in that. The next thing, I just knocked the yarn behind you. Pardon me. is a project I don't have with me anymore. Now I might be able to get a picture of it, but it kind of depends when all this is going to go up on YouTube. But I had shared before that I was working on a pair of socks for a friend of mine as a thank you for kind of just being really supportive of a lot of different things. And I had done I'd done maybe half the first sock and did a 1x1 rib by accident, and then I wasn't sure about the needle size and everything. So I ended up ripping them back completely and starting again, dropped down to a 2.25mm needle and did a 2x2 rib, and finished them quite quickly and gave them away on Friday, not thinking about the fact that, hey, you record YouTube videos where you're meant to show off, or like to show off, the projects you finished. I can show you the yarn. So this is what I have left. This is just some commercial opal yarn in the colour. In German it's called kuscheliges Drachennest, which means cuddly dragon nest. And there's actually not that much left because the person I made the socks for has quite big feet, like I do as well. But they were well received and appreciated, which is always nice. So hopefully I'll be able to include a picture. Otherwise, it might just pop up on my Instagram at some point. And the last thing, that's a finished object. We've got a lot of whips as well. Of course we do. Wouldn't be me if we didn't. Yeah. The last finished thing is the Iskall Sweater for Helena from Purrmaid Yarns. So this is using her yarn. And last time, I had most of the body done. It's down here. And I was just waiting for the last skein of yarn. And it arrived on Tuesday, I believe. And so I finished off the body. Ugh, I'm digesting, I'm so sorry. But I finished off the body and did the ribbing. I ended up adding 2 or 3 inches to the body because I thought it was too short. Because it's meant to be kind of like tunic style, so kind of going over the butt or something. As you can see, ends are not woven in, it's not wash blocked or anything because I've still got yarn left. Oh yeah, that's right, it's under my seat. That happened during my German video. I've got quite a bit of the last skein left, and I'm hoping to send this to her on Monday because, well, she's been waiting for it for a while because I've been working on this for a while. So I haven't woven in the end, just in case if she tries it on and thinks the length isn't good, and needs to kind of add length, remove length, something like that, and trying to do that when the ends are already woven in is a nightmare. So I haven't done that, and I'll just write her a little note being like, it's not anything nasty and that I'm lazy. It's literally just because, you know, I want you to be able to wear it so it fits nicely. But it's done, guys! And gals. Guys and gals. Guys and dolls. That's insulting in my opinion. Anyway, so those are all my finished objects. I got through those quite quickly. I feel really out of breath. I've still got more videos I'm meant to be recording today. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's talk whips. First of all, I have made some progress on my Otra Yoke cardigan. So this is part of my Make 9, and it's the first one that I'm working on. I haven't finished any of my Make 9s. And last time I'd finished off the skein of yarn for the body and had started the sleeve, which is now complete. And I decided it would be funny to leave all these stitch markers on there. I didn't need to do this because you decrease evenly. So I could have just had one stitch marker that could have travelled, but then I was just like, let's hang them all on there. And I find it kind of entertaining and pretty. Makes me happy, which is something we need. I had mentioned in previous videos I was thinking about adding some of the colours from the yoke into the sleeve, and I decided not to. Just because I was like, it will make the sleeve thicker, and I just kind of wanted to leave it. I was happy with it. The sleeve took a really long time. I just was not in the mood to then potentially have to rip it back and everything. So I now need to do the second sleeve before finishing the body. This is the second skein of yarn I'm using. So I've got one more after this, which I think should be plenty. But I need to be a bit careful because I want to make sure I have a decent length for the cardigan, but at the same time I need to reserve enough yarn to be able to put in the button band. So we'll see how much. Obviously a sleeve will be finished, there will be yarn left after the sleeve. I'll put all of that into the body, and then I'll just have a think about how many stitches roughly will I have here, and how wide does it have to be, and then see what happens. But it's getting there, and then hopefully I can soon start my next make 9, which will be socks. My brain's a bit fried. It will be a pair of socks, which will be nice. So I needed a bit of a break. I was so tired and so confused. I was just like, nope, have a break, film the rest later, and now I feel much better. So it's been a little while, but I think it's okay, it's fine. I've got a bit more energy now. Okay, next project. There it is. So with this one, I don't know what happened. I was so not feeling motivated to knit this at all, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, boom, just couldn't stop knitting it. So this is the Woodland Cardigan by Anna Joanna from the book Strands of Joy. And last time, I do have the marker in. So the way that this has worked is, it's a cardigan that you work in the round and then it's steeked. But the kind of shoulder construction and everything means you work it flat for quite a while. So you do the back until you get to where the sleeves would end. And then you work each front separately for a while, do the neck shaping, join in the round with the steek stitches. So last time, this is where you start with the back. Is it? Yes, this is where you start with the back. It's like on the top of the shoulder. And last time I was down here. So I knitted the rest of the back for where the sleeve will go. I then did each of the fronts, joined it in the round, and then worked until you join. No, hang on. Worked each of the front, joined those together, and then joined it in the round and worked for about slightly more than an inch. After which I ran out of my first skein of yarn. So the yarn that I'm using, my main colour is a limited edition yarn that Emma Robinson from Woolly Mammoth Fibres was selling. And then my contrast colour, I'll get into a bit, because I'll have included a picture, but it's a colourwork cardigan, so you've got the kind of colourwork at the bottom. So I've obviously done a decent amount of the body, but I've also got an entire sleeve already. Where did this come from, considering how little I had done on it before? So I thought I'd do the sleeves first before moving on to finishing the body, just because I want to try and get as much length as always out of the cardigan. And I think it's not cropped, but it's not exactly a long cardigan either. And I'm just always a bit worried when something's a bit shorter that I'll need to add more length, and I just want to make sure I don't run out of yarn, but also don't end up with a lot of yarn left at the end. But what I did do is I actually went up 2 sizes. Yeah, 2 sizes with the sleeves. I picked up quite a few extra stitches because given the measurement for the bust size, the matching sleeve size would have been quite fitted on me. Apparently, for my bust, I've got quite big arms, apparently. Not only are they long, they're also quite chunky. So it's fine with this kind of construction. I can easily pick up more sleeve stitches, and I've kind of like slipped my arm into it and it feels really comfortable. And I also added a little bit of length, and I chose to do a bit of colour work and incorporate my contrast colour into the sleeve. So the contrast colour, I'm not going to say because I just can't. I'm not French. I don't have a good accent when I speak French, so I'm just going to show it off instead. So there you go, and it'll be linked below. The colour is dark green grey. So I've got 2 skeins of this, and here's the first one. Barely used any of it. So I'm sticking with the colours in the actual cardigan, from the pattern, I mean. And so I just chose, this was actually Georgie's idea, because I was knitting this during a Zoom night, and I was kind of discussing, should I do the cuff in the contrast colour? Because I didn't like that it was just the main colour, because I was like, it just makes the green only at the bottom, and I think it just not distracted, but it just didn't fit in as well. And I was like, I guess I'll just do it in the contrast colour. And then Georgie had the genius idea. She was like, why don't you just do knit, when you do the knit 2, purl 2, purl the 2 stitches with your contrast colour. She was like, that's very traditional with these kind of Fair Isle things. And I was like, I knew you were a genius when it comes to yarn dyeing, but you're just a genius in general. So that's what I've done. My main colour is the yarn's a little bit thicker than my contrast colour. So you can just kind of see with the bind off, it's a bit floppy and loose. I am hoping that will block out, because I do think both of these yarns will bloom once I've blocked it, but I think it will be okay. There's not too much stretch in here, but I think it will be perfect and will kind of keep its shape, and I think this will block out. So I've now started the second sleeve. I haven't started the decreases yet. It was only very recently that I started this, and then tried to kind of focus my attention on something else. Because while I really want to finish this, like I said, I should really finish the Otra Yoke cardigan first, because it's one of my make 9s. And I want to start my next make 9. But I just was really enjoying this, loving this like rustic yarn. It's going to be such a warm piece, and it's just going to be beautifully oversized. I just can't wait for it to be done. It's so beautiful. So I've really been enjoying working on this, considering, you know, before when I showed it, I think I'd knitted like 4 rows. So apparently I was just feeling this project. And I think that's a nice thing. This is why I like having multiple projects. I can just let myself feel and just knit whatever I want to knit. So that's my Woodland cardigan. And next we've got, can't show you what I'm keeping this in, I will later, my other test knit. So this is the currently named Basket Sweater by Lega from Fibre Tales, and I'm not sure if I really worked on it since last time, but I'll show it off anyway. I think I might have done 1 or 2 stripes, and I think I hadn't done the colour work before, but I'm kind of on hold again because I'm up to the last set of increases before we split for sleeves, and some of the increase is fine, but if I work it, the stitch count doesn't match up with what we should have. And then it's also potential issues with sizing regarding the bust is going to be too big, the sleeves are going to be too tight. So I know how to fix it for my size, but I don't just want to go ahead and do it because it's a test knit. So I'm going to wait until Lega and her tech editor have gotten back to us. And it's not just me having this issue, it's a lot of different sizes and stuff, and that's just, you know, what happens with a test knit. And this is why grading is hard. And if you watched my video where I talked about the new in Yarncraft, I talked a bit about size inclusivity and just tried to have a chat about it's a lot of work, and while everyone should be inclusive as possible, it's all part of the problem also just encouraging makers of different sizes to do what they do best and design clothes, you know, potentially in more suited to their size and everything. Because it is hard, it's really hard. So I really want to knit this and have it done because I think it's going to be so beautiful and something so different in my wardrobe. But like I said, I'm just on hold with it. The yarn I'm using, I've shared plenty of times before, is Snelden yarn, so Danish yarn. Absolutely wonderful, just so interesting to work with. And just can't, wish I didn't have to put it down. But I will be patient, and in some ways it's a good thing I haven't worked on this. The test knit deadline has been pushed back because there's been quite a few issues. And I've mentioned before, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me having to rip back. I like this as kind of an experience of learning how to design patterns myself and things. And by that being on hold, it meant couldn't work on it, and so I got to finish other things. So it's not a bad thing. Definitely not a bad thing. And then I've got a pair of socks that I've been working on So I finished, like I showed, the Gerste socks, and because I'm trying to knit 12 pairs of socks from 52 weeks of socks, of course she had a new one. I shared these last time, and I did nearly nothing on these. I just wasn't feeling it. I talked about the yarn last time and thought it was lovely, but I don't know, I'm not feeling it. So these are the Ika Socks, once again from 52 weeks of socks, and for this pair, I'm actually using the yarn that was used for the pattern. So this is from Blacker Yarns, and it's their mohair blend in the actual colour used in the pattern, which is just satisfying beyond belief. Last time I'd finished the increases, and now I've done one pattern repeat. So you can hopefully see, it's really hard to kind of show off, but there is a kind of cable pattern here, and also some pearl stitches that just give it a bit of texture and things. I think it'll be easier to see once I've got a few more, but you can sort of just see the kind of twisting of the cables there. So, like I said, I did those 8 rows or whatever the pattern is, and then just didn't really feel like working on it. I go through phases with socks. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the pattern, it's just what I'm in the mood for, and currently it's been simple kind of knits with still a fun, challenging element to it, but they just don't require too much brain work, and I've never been a huge fan of knitting cables. I love the look of them, but no matter what I do, I just don't find it that enjoyable to knit, and with this yarn it's much harder to do that whole trick that I used for the intersection socks of going into the, like if it's a 4-stitch cable, I'm going into the 3rd and 4th stitch and pulling the first 2 off and then popping those back on the needle and working it that way without a cable needle. Doesn't really work that well with that yarn, because with the mohair and stuff it just splits a bit more and I'm likely to lose the stitches. So I am happy with them. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to wear them once it gets colder again, but just haven't really been feeling it. So just like with the Woodland Cardigan last time I filmed, wasn't feeling it. Now, couldn't put it down. Like absolutely couldn't put it down. So I don't really, like with the Gnorbu shawl, I forced myself a bit to knit that, but then kind of had a breakthrough, and every now and then I need that. And not just with my knitting, I have this with a lot of things. I have it with my work as well. Doesn't matter how much I love something, sometimes I come up against a wall where my brain just kind of goes, I don't want to do this anymore. And I go, give me 10 more minutes, or give me another round when it comes to knitting. And then all of a sudden I get over that kind of hurdle again, and then everything's okay. The last project that I've shown before, though I think this one I've only ever shown in my abandoned projects video, which is, well, it's not that old, but it's been a while. I'm gonna reach, I think it's June or July, I'm gonna reach 1 year on YouTube, so it's not like it's super old, but it's like, it's a decently old video now considering everything else that I do. So a lot of you might not have seen this one before, but I am knitting the Exordium Shawl, and I'll show the yarn off first because I think it's something very special. Look at that shine and luster. Isn't that amazing? So this is Georgie's camel silk base, so the Fibre Fox again. This is moss, and I'm pretty sure this is obsidian. And I bought these at Yorkshire Yarn Fest, the first and only currently physical yarn show that Yorkshire Yarn Fest has been able to do. That was also the first time I actually met Georgie in person, and was the annoying person who, I think there were 2 of these and only 1 of this one or something, and I was like, oh, but I want 2 skeins for a shawl. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna buy one of those but then leave one of these, and I was like, I can't justify buying 3. But yeah, so I think these are absolutely beautiful and so soft, so incredibly soft. And the one and only time I've shown it off, I think I had about this much. I'd done maybe 1 or 2 of the stripes. I haven't got much more, but I've done this pattern repeat now, which is what I've also got on the Gnorbu shawl. So where you knit 3 stitches and then slip the first one that you knit over the other 2. And I love this, I think it's really beautiful. And you just alternate which colour you work with, which I didn't actually enjoy that much. It's the same thing with the stripes down here. I don't like alternating colour that much. If it's colour work, I love it, but stripes and 1 or 2 rows of a colour just kind of bothers me when it's work like this. But I think you can see that this top bit, this garter stitch up here, is quite see-through. But here it's quite dense. I used the same needles, but I started this back in like early 2020 maybe, and I think I just used to knit much tighter. I'm not too worried about gauge, I've got plenty of yarn, and I'll make it work, but it is just interesting how much looser I knit now. Might just be a sign of better mental health and less stress. Like 2020. 2020 was rough. 2021, we've been dealing. It's been okay. There's been some good bits. So I think the colour combo of these two is just absolutely beautiful, and funnily enough, my mum's knitting exactly the same one. Different yarn, but I was helping her the other day choose what kind of pattern she should be knitting with the yarn that she had in her stash. And I was trying to, you know, show her like, oh, you could knit this cool t-shirt or something. And then eventually she messaged me and was like, I've settled on this shawl. And I was like, I'm knitting that shawl. Like, I started it ages ago, but it's the abandoned project that I'm now working on now that the Gnorbu shawl is done. I was like, you now have done the Gnorbu shawl and now you're doing this one? And it's really motivating because mum's ahead of me. But so I kind of just knew what was coming. I was like, okay, obviously I can read the pattern. I don't know, there's something... It's not that I'm competitive and want to get it done before her. I don't care. Mum's gonna get it done before I do. She typically only knits on one project. And even if she didn't, I wouldn't care if she finished before me. It's just nice to... This is why I like knit-alongs, to kind of work on the same project at the same time. It's nice. I really like that. So that's all my whips. Though I said before, if you're a long-time subscriber, I actually hate saying whips. But now I'm starting to enjoy it. It's one of those things, isn't it? You say a word or a phrase ironically and eventually it actually becomes part of your vocabulary. New cast-ons. Only 2. So I finished, 6 projects and I've only cast on 2 new ones. There will be a new one soon because I've got a test knit coming up. It's a cardigan. Is she ever going to stop knitting cardigans? Is she ever going to finish any? But I'll show you the 2 new projects. The first one is a cardigan. I'll go get it. So just earlier, I got rudely interrupted by some yarn falling. Or I don't even know if I said it was yarn falling. But I just kind of said, like, I'll explain later why I'm annoyed. This is the later. This is where I'm about to explain why I'm annoyed. Sorry, I just want to sort something out first. Just to make sure it's going to be okay. Where we at? There we at. So, I had shared, I think 2 episodes ago, that I managed to get my hands on some Nutiden wool yarn. Wool, it's wool. And I bought 3 different colours with 3 projects in mind. And it's, since I filmed that podcast, they've just been sitting right in front of this chest of drawers. Right in front of this chest of drawers. Sounds weird. It's just one. Grammar. And just in the paper bags that they came in. So every morning, you know, getting up and having a shower and getting ready for my PhD writing, I walked past this yarn and was like, this makes me so happy. Why am I not letting myself knit with it? So eventually I had enough. I was like, no more. I want to knit with this and that's okay. I get to cast this on. I'm treating myself to a cast on. So with this yarn, if you've watched that video, you should already know what I'm going to knit and what I've been knitting on. So I've been working on a fluff nugget. So this is a cardigan by Becky Sorensen, and I'm also still working on her Telegram cardigan as well. But I haven't made any progress on that because I'm like, that needs to wait for now. So I'm holding 2 strands of Nutiden yarn. So I've got these 2 here. And as I was filming before, when you saw my annoyed face, one of these just kind of like rolled off. And because this is such fragile yarn, it ripped it. And this is literally what I had happen when I was filming my German one. It didn't fall off, but it was as I was picking it up, one of them ripped. So then I ripped the other one off because I might as well rejoin both of them. And it's fine to rejoin, but I've rejoined you so many times. Why you got to do this? Never rips when I'm working with it, only whenever I try to pick it up and move it. Very fragile yarn, but so soft and so beautiful. So the Fluff Nugget Cardigan, very well named, Becky. Very well named, because it's fluffy. So this is the second time I've ever done brioche. First time, didn't know it was brioche. I just did it. So the colour isn't coming off perfectly. It's a much warmer brown. It's coming across much cooler, I think. But yes, it's knit just brioche, which I've, like I said, only done once before. And while it's slow, I find it actually quite enjoyable and relaxing. And it's knit bottom up and worked flat. So I've got a lot of stitches for my size. And I think it's just going to be beautiful. So this is a really fun project when I'm a bit tired but still want to do some knitting in the evening. Because it's just knit a stitch, slip the next one while wrapping the yarn around. That's it. And I've got quite a while to go before I need to do anything regarding sleeves. I've got a marker in here just to indicate this is the front. It's not important right now because they look the same, but it will be important later. Becky recommends that in the pattern. It's not me being a genius. And what I'm a bit worried about is I think it's meant to be a bit cropped. And I'm hoping to get a bit more length out of it. I think I should have enough yarn, but because it's knit bottom up, I've got 5 of these plates, so 500 grams in total. And I think I need something like 420 or something like that, I think, for my size. I can't fully remember. But the problem is, if I add too much length, I run the risk of then not having enough for the rest of the body and the sleeves. So I need to just have a bit of a think once I get to the recommended length to see how much yarn I've got left and to have a think about how many stitches have I got left, and because there will obviously at the top be some decreasing, but then there's also, you know, the button band has to go in and stuff. So I just need to be smart about it. But for now, I'm like, until I get to the recommended length that it's meant to be, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just enjoying it as a nice, relaxing knit. And so glad I really just let myself cast that on, because since I first arrived, I've wanted Nutiden for quite a while now. And it was just sitting there not being worked with. So it was a lovely cast on. And in some ways, I think that's what I want to do more of. Instead of casting on all the things, kind of just really see what do I keep being called to and let myself work with that. So that's the first thing I've been working on. And today, when I'm filming this, is May 16th, when they had their next shop update. So I was up at 5 a.m. and managed to get some more yarn, which I'm really excited for. I didn't get any sweater quantities worth because I don't really, I still have 2 other sweater quantities worth from the March update. But there's a shawl I want to make and a beanie I want to make with some of the colours that I bought. Beautiful yarn. Sells out so quickly. I didn't get one of the colours that I wanted because it just sold out so quickly. And it's typically the 100 gram plates that sell out immediately, and the 300 and 500 gram bags that they sell, you've got a bit more time to get onto those. The last project I have to share is, if you have watched the New and Yarncraft video, I talked about the yarn kits that Georgie has done for Maddie Harvey's mystery knit along for the Trig Point shawl. So that's what I'm about to show off. So if you're knitting it and you haven't finished clue 1 and clue 2, I know it only came out on Friday, but I've knitted it all already. It's not that much, but I just really wasn't keen on working on anything else. I've just been working on this. And you don't want to know what it looks like, just know that this is probably going to be the end of the video for you. And who cares about acquisitions? I just don't want this to be spoiled for you. So this is what it's looking like so far. I'm knitting the asymmetrical version, which is just meant to be a bit easier because I don't want anything stressful right now. And I'm only working one side at a time. I don't want to put the pressure on myself of having to do the second one at the same time. I'm like, it will get done at some point, it's okay. And if I keep working through these clues at the speed, there's not going to be any worry about getting this done. So the yarn that I'm using is Mondim yarn by Retrosaria or Rosa Palma. I get confused. I know so it's from Portugal. It's Portuguese wool. And I'm pretty sure Retrosaria is the name of the store. And I think the yarn might actually be called Rosa Palma, but it still says Retrosaria. I really don't know. But it's Mondim, so it's a fingering weight yarn. And for the pattern, you need a variegated and a solid is what's recommended. And to try and have as much contrast between them. I've got contrast. It's not super strong, but at first I wasn't too sure if I liked the yarn combo, but it's really growing on me. It's very different for me, but I'm quite enjoying it. So clue 1 was just up to here, and I can't remember what the style of knitting is called anymore, but because you're working flat and you've got just single stripes of each colour, the way that you have to work this is you actually knit the right side with one colour, slip all the stitches back, and then knit the right side again with the other colour. And then you turn your work and then do the same thing. So by the time you've worked the front and the back, you've actually worked 4 rows of your shawl. And that kind of makes it go much quicker, in my opinion. And here's the embarrassing thing I'm about to admit, which I also admitted in my German videos, where I'm like, why do I do this to myself? I don't have to share this stuff. I'm using circular needles, as you can see. So when I finish a row and have to slide everything back, so it's got an I-cord edging, so you do, at the end of the row, have to slip the last 3 stitches. But you can just slip them, you know, onto your working needle, and then you can just do this wonderful thing with circular needles where you just pull it back to where you need to work from, the side you need to work from. It's not what I did. I literally had finished working a row and then slipped all the stitches from my right hand needle to my left hand needle. And it wasn't until I was almost finished with clue 1, I think I was about here, and I was like, I think the work itself slipped, and I was like, that just made my life much easier. And this is literally just a beautiful visual way of seeing how hard the last few weeks have been regarding work and just everyday life. She just didn't think. So stupid. So I wasted a lot of time with that. But like I said, clue 2 is now done, and you just get these beautiful lines up here using slip stitches. Absolutely wonderful. I really enjoy Mondim. It's a rustic, non-superwash yarn, and it's got just a really good feel to it. And currently, I know it's only slip stitches, but I feel like the definition's quite good. So hopefully that will be good. And the next clue comes out on Friday. So I got through this really quickly. It was because I'd finished off some really important work, which I'll discuss in some Knit With Me videos. On Saturday, and then spent the rest of Saturday working on this, and then I think Sunday morning, so today for me, I finished it off. Got up on time to get some Nutiden yarn, quickly went back to bed for a little while, came back out, made myself some breakfast, sat down and was knitting while watching Lord of the Rings, as you do on a Sunday morning. But that's all the project, and now it's just acquisitions, so new things that have come into my life. It's a bit of a weird acquisition section because it's nothing that I've bought recently. Everything I've received, other than one thing which was a present, everything has just been pre-orders, and they've all just kind of come at the same time, which is bizarre. But I'll share the present first because that's the thing I couldn't share earlier. My mum, who watches my podcast episodes, my lovely mama, I think was just getting a bit sick and tired that I was constantly saying, I need to sew project bags, and I don't have enough project bags. So she bought me one. How pretty is this? Squirrels and foxes and rabbits and hares and pheasants. Absolutely beautiful, and such nice material as well. So this is where I'm keeping the basket sweater right now. So this is by Rectory Crafts. She's based down south in the UK, and you can just find her on Etsy. I'll have a link below. And it was beautiful. I think my mum ordered it, and then it immediately arrived the next day with first class shipping. It was incredible. But with the time difference, it does mean that mum probably ordered it at like 4 or 5 in the morning UK time. And so it then just means that she probably shipped it off, you know, first thing that day, and then it arrived the next one. But it's an amazing size. I love that it's got a handle, and pretty sure this is the one that has a pocket on the inside. It does. It has quite a decent size pocket as well, which is quite nice. I've currently got nothing in it, but that's quite nice for, I like to keep things like scissors, a kind of darning needle in there, and other small kind of bits like spare stitch markers in case. Because even though I'm not going anywhere, sometimes I don't want to get off the sofa to get what I need. She can be lazy, what can I say? So that's, my mum got me that, which was so nice of her and so beautiful. The next thing is some new yarn. So, when was it? Was it March or April? Might be end of March or early April. So I've been following Dystopic Fibre for quite a while, even before John was dying. I've followed him just on Instagram. He's given me some amazing tips. For example, he told me to knit the Jessica Jones cowl. So that was all because of him. And then when he started up his business, I've always kept an eye on what he's been dyeing, and thought he's dyed up some beautiful things. But then when he was announcing that he was going to open this up for a pre-order, I was like, it's got to be mine. So this is a sock set called Clockwork Orange. Absolutely wonderful. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to make with it, because I do think socks will be really nice with these two contrast colours. But I'm also thinking like a hat, mittens, so many options. So in total it's 140 grams, so I've got two 20-gram minis in here. And I'm just not sure yet, so I need to spend some time on Ravelry and have a think about what I want to do with this. And he also threw in an extra mini skein. And for any of you based in the UK, you might know a drink known as Iron Brew. So John's up in Scotland, where Iron Brew's from, and it's an orange drink in a blue kind of bottle, and it's, in my opinion, one of the worst drinks I've ever had. But I know some people love it. So if you don't know what Iron Brew is, it's a soft drink like Fanta or Coca-Cola or something, and it's just so ridiculously sweet. But the colours are exactly that of Iron Brew. It's absolutely amazing. And I love a little extra mini. And it goes quite well with those colours, I think, as well. So that's the first thing that arrived. And then, of course, got to show off the April colour of Georgie's Mystery Sock Club. How amazing is this? I love yellow. And this is just all the little like darker speckles and things. Incredible. Beautiful. So I'm not sure if that will become socks or something else, because I do think that could be quite a nice contrast colour for like a yoke of a cardigan, dare I say it, or just a sweater. So I think that's really beautiful. And so that was obviously a pre-order as well. And I also had pre-ordered from Georgie two other things. These aren't yarn, but I pre-ordered the new Lane magazine. So this is issue number 11. I love this magazine so much. I've never been the biggest fan of knitting magazines. Like, I think they're nice, but I never really spent money on most of them until I found this one. And there's a couple of other ones that I really like, but this just speaks to me. The whole aesthetic of Line magazine and just the books they do as well, the quality of everything, it's just amazing. So I just want to show you some of the designs in here. So this is Lento, just a really simple, beautiful raglan jumper using, it's either Suri alpaca or mohair with a fingering weight yarn. And you can just see here, knitted up in a green, but also, sorry, just with the lighting, it's really reflective, but also in a blue. And part of me was thinking if I shouldn't change my Make 9 plans and use my La Bien-Amie yarn, the Pognon Suske colour, to not make the No Frill Sweater by Petite Knits, but make that instead. Not sure yet. We'll see. And one of the other ones that I really like is the Shawl Sea Mist. Just so beautiful. The colours, but also like the whole design of it. And I like the way that they set out the magazine. I know it's actually quite a lot of magazines do this. They don't show the pictures and then immediately the pattern. So the pattern's in the back, and it makes showing it off here so much easier. And the other one is called Visiting, which you can have either as a jumper or as a cardigan. So I think it's a broken rib cardigan. There is another picture of it. that colour, that like slight purple. Beautiful, unbelievably beautiful. Love that. So, might need to make another cardigan. I did sew my German one as well, so I've currently on the go, I've got the Otra Yoke cardigan, the Woodland cardigan, the Fluff Nugget. I'm still working on my Telegram cardigan. And I think there's one more. I think I also forgot my German video. But I'm definitely working on at least 4. And there's more that I want to cast on. So I'm just really in a cardigan phase right now. I just love wearing them so much. And then the last thing I want to show off is the thing that everyone on the internet with knitting is talking about. 52 weeks of shawls. So there's just a couple of patterns that I want to show off in here. The book is absolutely incredible. If you own 52 weeks of socks or have looked at it, it's obviously exactly the same kind of quality and layout and just absolutely beautiful. And I'd knit most of these. I really would. So the first one I want to share is Limelight by Anna Joanna. So just a really lightweight, beautiful colours, quite a simple design. And I saw this one on Ravelry. I shared this in my Instagram stories. I saw that one on Ravelry, immediately went like, put that in my favourites, I love it, and was like, I guess I'll buy that at some point. Not realising it was part of 52 weeks of shawls. Not that you can buy them right now, which I'm glad of, otherwise I probably would have bought it, and then would have, when the book arrived, I then went, oh, it's in the book. So I'm glad they do that, because that would have been silly me. The other one I think that's really nice is Silta. The colour combination, the stitch design, oh, it's just beautiful. So you can see some more pictures here. And like always, just the pictures that they take, the models that they choose. You saw it in the magazine as well. It's just really nice. Just the different kind of models that they choose to have. Then this is another one I really love, Rough, which I know a lot of people have shared off as well. Just really beautiful with how the lines don't match up. I think that's a wonderful design element and something I could definitely see myself get a lot of wear out of. And like I said, I don't love knitting shawls. I find it quite challenging to get through and just don't really feel like there's much motivation like there is with a jumper for me. But I can see myself knitting most of these. My favourite, I think, but not sadly the first one that I'm going to be knitting. This is Elf by Lega from Fibre Tales. I'm a little fangirl for her. And just the double spread here is just so beautiful. And, oh, I hope to be able to knit that one day. And hopefully in Annabelle Williams' yarn as well. So then I think the next one is from Susanne Sommer, which was test knitted by someone I watch on YouTube, but she only does German videos, so probably not going to be interesting for anyone here. But once I find it, it's a really beautiful stairway. That's it. It's a really beautiful brioche shawl. So once again, like, look at that model. She's incredible and just fits the style of line so well. And I know they dress them that way and everything, but so that one is really amazing. And then I think the last one I was going to show off, even though there's so many more, I'd highly recommend go on Ravelry if you can. I know not everyone can. And have a look at the pictures. Otherwise, if you can use Instagram, they've also been posting a lot of pictures of all the different designs. But for anyone who follows the Fibre Fox like I do, you will have seen that she opened up a pre-order for yarn she's dyed up for the Moscow in almost very similar colours. I think there's a bit of a difference. And she's dyed it up using a new base that she's stocking, which is yak and silk. And she messaged me the other day and was like, Nina, it's so soft. So I'm going to knit this very soon. And Georgie's been working on it, has made a lot of progress. But yeah, there's a lot of really amazing patterns in here. If you're a shawl fan, the thing is, if you think about the price of these books and you compare it to how much it would cost for you to buy just, 2 or 3 of the patterns, it starts to already get close to the price of the book. And I think it's also just if you can afford it and you are, you know, a lover of knitted things, they're also just beautiful books, because even someone who doesn't enjoy knitting, they can happily just flick through and look at the beautiful things. And then that's how you can sort of sneakily find out if friends want, you know, a certain shawl or something. You'll be like, well, I'm knitting that for you. I love doing that when friends don't realise that I'm trying to be sneaky. And then I gift them something. They're like, oh, but I remember saying how much I love it. You remember? And I was like, I strategically placed that in front of you. I'm surprised you didn't figure it out. I think I've done that twice now. Mainly with yarn. That I just kind of have it lying in the corner and it looks like I haven't really cleaned up. And then I, you know, if they don't say anything, I'm like, oh, I really should clean away that yarn. And they're like, oh, I really like that one colour. And I'm like, cool, I put 3 in front of you. You said this one was your favourite. You're getting something made out of this. That's everything. So, obviously this was going to be a long episode. I, like I said, hadn't recorded in a timely manner like I normally would. And everything should be back to normal now. I've got plenty more videos planned as well. I have decided with my Knit With Me videos, because I currently can't sit down and film as often as I would like, I'm not choosing a specific project. I'm just, for now, turning it into just a general knit with me and have a, you know, knit and natter really, but it only goes one way with me chatting about things. And that way, for anyone who's interested in those styles of videos and hearing about my life and any updates, you can watch those videos and it doesn't have an impact on the kind of podcast. And in the future, I do want to, you know, maybe when I pick one of the 52 Weeks of Shawls books, one of the 52 Weeks of Shawls, once I pick a shawl from that book and start working on it, maybe that's what I'll do. It will also be interesting to hear if any of you have a preference about, you know, is there anything you want me to kind of work on and talk through? But obviously, if you've watched the Dark Water Sweater one, I don't just talk about the pattern itself. The roundup for that video is coming soon. And a new in yarn craft video will come soon as well. So lots to look forward to. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with the fact that, you know, this video is over a week late. I know I don't have to film, but I really do just enjoy it. So want to do it and like to stick to it in a timely manner. And I just realised I forgot to say this in my German one, but I have decided to set up a Ko-Fi account just in case anyone wants to support the channel. There's absolutely no pressure with it. I really mean that. These videos are free. They're meant to be a free source of entertainment for everyone. But if anyone, you know, wants to kind of support the channel, go ahead. It's obviously greatly appreciated, but it is not a must. It's just if anyone does want to do it. So the link for that is below. And I guess I'll remind people most videos, but I really don't want to pressure people into that. But it's there if anyone's interested. But what really means the most to me is when people comment on my videos and getting to have that conversation with them about either what they're working on and thinking about, or, you know, what they thought about some of the projects I mentioned and things like that. That's just my favourite thing, really. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're all doing well. And if you're in the UK, things are changing, which is sort of good but also terrifying. So look after yourself. If you can, look after the people that you love and care for, and I wish you the best. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!